Were you able to get any merch like you wanted to while you're at the MagicCon?
Nope. After you had left on Saturday, I had decided to go and to check. And the line wasn't really that long. It had actually like moved to the point where it was like there was only like 4 switchbacks. So I was like, all right, that's not bad. And it wasn't like spilling out of the main line. So I was like, I'll get in line. And so I looked at the board, the poster boards, and all I wanted was the Magic is for Everyone shirt for my wife because she wanted one. And I wanted a Magic Clue edition. Those are the 2 things I wanted to get from the store. And they both said that they were there. Waited in the line for 45 minutes. And in that 45 minutes, they sold out of both.
Oh.
I was not happy. It was at that point I was like, I'm going back to the room. And so yeah, I didn't get any merch. I am a little annoyed because I was kind of so mad that I was like, thank you. That's 45 minutes of my life I'm not going to get back. Have a great day. And then walked away. And I'm kicking myself for not at least getting the lanyard because the lanyard was pretty cool. It had Fibblethip on it and everything.
Oh yeah. That's like one of your favorite characters.
Yeah, I love Fibblethip. I tried getting them to name the dog Fibblethip, but they would not let me.
You just get lost. That's not
Yeah,
cool.
exactly. You just get lost. Yeah, that's tempting fate. That's true. I probably shouldn't do that. Big. Well, let's get into it. So we're talking about MagicCon this week because both of us went and we actually got to meet each other in for real life.
One thing I'll say is don't look for Nate based on whatever hat he posted he was wearing previously. He changes his hats.
I do. I changed my hat. But so I wanted to ask you, what were your thoughts of the event? What did you like about it or didn't like about it?
I mean, it was interesting. So, like you mentioned, I was there on Saturday. I only went one
Yes.
of the 3 days. That's because I'm semi-local, right? So I didn't have to get a hotel or anything like that. I just had to deal with travel.
Yeah.
But not like as much as you from like a whole different region of the country. But I still had complications with that. But I utilized public transportation because that was an option, right? I didn't have to drive in.
Mm-hmm.
I think overall it was interesting. It was an okay experience. I've seen people posting on Reddit after the fact complaining about it. And to be fair, most of them I think are just complaining to complain because it didn't live up to some high grandiose expectation.
Mm-hmm.
I think a few of the critiques I have were I don't think they planned enough for the amount of tickets they sold.
Yeah. Yes.
Which apparently was worse at some other MagicCons in the past.
Yeah.
But like we got lucky. We found a table at the end of the hall.
Yeah. Yeah.
That we could sit down and play. That was the only open one.
Yeah, and we absolutely lucked out because it was. I seriously think we got the last open free play table at that point in the day. Like it was, yeah.
Then with that, you took me to the Cube folks, and we did that. That was an interesting experience.
I was gonna say, I hope you enjoyed that because I dragged you to that. I could tell you were like, I just want to play Commander.
No, I brought other decks too. To be fair, like
yeah.
But no, I think the part of that was just it's something you run into anytime. It's something you have to be ready for.
Yeah.
It's the same thing at any LGS. Is some people just play slower.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it doesn't help when it's cards that aren't yours.
Yeah.
It was an interesting game though. I had fun building the deck I did. It definitely wasn't aggro at all, and you're the only one I beat.
Yes, but I will say the round against you was my favorite round because I think every game by turn 3 or turn 4 at least, I had Dark Confidant and Liliana the Veil.
Yeah, that Dark Confidant's why you died.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like that Dark Confidant did a lot of work for you. But
it was what was funny is I stole it and you're like, no, it killed it.
It's really what Dark Confidant is for me is a cry for help. Is what that is. Anyway,
it was fun though. It was a fun game. It really was. And like that's it too. Because like the first opponent I went against was just aggro. Like I was done in like 4 turns.
Yeah,
like, it was just they built a good deck. Just straight up. Like I had no hope of beating them. And then the last guy was doing a control deck, and I had a bit going on there back and forth, but he was outpacing me, and that's all it came down to.
Yeah.
And he had a combo going on where he could bounce a control piece back to his hand, play it, steal something of mine, and kept doing that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, it was still interesting, but that's CubeCon, correct?
Yeah, that was the folks from CubeCon. Dan from CubeCon was there teaching Cube, and that was a fun experience. I really enjoyed it, and I will say those games that I played in that draft were some of the more interesting games I think I played in a long time, just because of the power level and just it was a lot of fun. I highly enjoy it. I highly recommend if you get a chance to cube, go and cube.
Yeah, and just to plug them a bit too, they're I think local from the Madison, Wisconsin region. And that they're going to be doing a event there as well. So keep your eyes out for that if you're into cube games. It's fun. Like it's different. It's a different kind of Magic. It's draft, but not take home draft, right? It's power, like high powered draft.
Yeah. There was one, and I know I talked to you a little bit about this, but the cube that we drafted is known as the Mad Cube, which is the Madison, Wisconsin cube. That's why they call it the Mad Cube. But they had another person from CubeCon had their cube there that was a legit vintage cube. I can't remember what they called it, but apparently it's like legitimately worth over $1 million. Like the thing has all of the cards you could ever want. There's actual Ancestral Recall. All of the cards are altered in some way. The Black Lotus is signed by Christopher Rush. I don't know how that man was walking around with that cube and not terrified that somebody would like just do a smash and grab.
To be honest, if I had that, it would be insured.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
But you saw that one in action Friday night, didn't you?
I didn't. My roommates did, okay. and not only did they get to see it in action, they got to see it in action while playing in a pod with Ristic Studies and Forthos Mike. So and my old ass decided to stay in the hotel room instead of going to hang out with them. But
did you end up staying up late any night or no?
I did on Saturday night and on Sunday night. Not as late on Sunday night though I wish I had. That's a slight regret on my part, but I think at that point I was just kind of done with being around people, and I just needed to be in my hotel room by myself, because my roommates had left at that point, because they had come differently. They had come separately from me. My roommates for the event, Spencer and Brendan, I'm sure they won't mind me plugging them, and their other friend Tony, who stayed at another location. They were playing in the Dual Commander tournament, the Dual Commander Cup, which I believe is the first time that Wizards ran a Dual Commander event at an official con like this. So this was kind of a big deal for the Dual Commander community. For those of you who are unaware, Dual Commander is essentially just two-person commander. It's also known as French. It has a different ban list. It actually has a banned as commander list as well as a full-on ban list. Like you just can't have it. So it's you can't play Sol Ring. That's one of the banned cards. And it's very high powered. It's borderline. In fact, I would say, yes, it is CEDH level. Some would argue maybe even more powerful because of the way the game is played. It's essentially like vintage Commander, almost. You're going to see some very high-powered cards if you're playing that.
To be fair, like the kind of Commander you and I have played on this podcast, like 1v1, is taking a typical Commander deck and doing it. So these decks have Soul Rings. These decks have all the normal cards. They're not made for one-on-one, and even then, the dynamic and how these decks play versus on a pod is vastly different. I can imagine how Dual Commander is when it's like you take that punch when you get that punch. There's no politicking.
Oh yeah, none. In fact, to give you an example, the first Dual Commander game I ever played was in a league game at my LGS, and I'm playing, and I'm playing with an Ashin Two Heavens deck. So it's all about creating like multiplying or doubling your triggers is essentially what it was all about. And I thought, this isn't going to do bad. And my opponent sits down and he proceeds to drop a volcanic island and a couple of I can't remember a couple other things, but by turn 4, I think he played Moat. And Moat is a very hateful card. It essentially means that only creatures with flying can attack. Well, and it's also like it is a pretty like it's kind of up there with Winter's Orb and such. It's on the reserve list. It's a very expensive card. So when he dropped Moat, I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding? I lost that game. I lost many other games that day. But yeah, so that's just to kind of give you an idea. But anyway, so these guys were there, and Duel Commander is huge at my store. They have leagues. They play it all the time. It's a big thing. So a whole bunch of them decided we're going to jump into this event. Well, after my debacle at the merchandise store, at the official store, and me not being able to get anything because they sold out of everything that I wanted while I was in line, I get back to my hotel room, and Brendan and Spencer come in, and not only Brendan, not only Spencer, but Tony, all three of them got in the top 8.
Really?
Yeah. Tony was top seed. Spencer, I want to say, was 4th seed, and Brendan was 7th seed. Like, they all got in. And then the next day, Tony proceeded to win. Spencer, I think, got 3rd place, and Brendan got 5th place. These guys just completely ran the field. Like, they knew what they were doing. But anyway, so I'm very proud of them. Congratulations to Tony, Spencer, and Brendan.
Long story short, you don't suck. You just play against good people all the time.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I would say it's probably a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B on that one. So I always see, but you know what though? And kind of like, that old adage that says that never assume you're the smartest person in the room. Like, always surround yourself with people smarter than you, and you'll do good in life. I kind of feel the same way with Magic players. Like, surround yourself with Magic players who are better than you, and you will get better. And
definitely,
I think that's very true. But anyway, to finish my long and arduous story. So they were funny because they were like, we want to go out and hang out. But wait, no, we really should get some sleep because we're top 8 tomorrow, and that's going to be a really hard event. We want to go out and play. No, we really want to. Or we went to got food. We went back to the hotel, and on the way back to the hotel, they were like, yeah, we're just going to go to sleep. We just need to go to sleep. And I was like, all right, okay, I can do it. Go to sleep. It's fine. We get back, and I'm getting changed in the bathroom, and I hear Brendan go, Nate, do you want to go play Commander? I was like, all right. So I go, because I was like, there is no way I'm not going to go hang out with you guys tonight. I said, because if I don't, you're going to come back and be like, oh yeah, we ran into such and such, and we played a game with such and such, and I'm going to be so mad. And then as we're walking down the hall to go to the place, I said, and you know what's going to happen is we're not going to see anybody. And we didn't.
The luck of it, though.
Yeah. We didn't.
If you weren't there, they would have got to play against like Kyle Hill, the professor.
Oh yeah.
But no,
didn't. But yeah. So then we played a Commander game, had a great time. My Angels came out on top. They actually came out on top, which was great.
It was funny. So the one game you and I did get to play with people, right? You were playing your Giada deck.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like I'm just sitting there knowing what it does, and I'm like, oh God, I'm not gonna ruin his fun. I'm not gonna say no. You need to take care of this.
Well, it ended up.
But no,
I'm glad you didn't because my Giada deck was like Angels.
Yeah, you didn't get a lot, to be fair.
Yeah, it like I got a ton at first, and then it just sputtered, and I got hellbent, and I was pretty much like just top decking for the remainder of the game. I need to get more draw on this deck, and unfortunately, I might switch it to Sigarda. I'm thinking I might switch, but I love Giada so much.
Giada's really good for that.
Yeah,
you do have a proxy land tax you can use now, though.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yes. Where did I put those? Oh yeah, I got them over there. Let me see. I've barely unpacked. Hold on, I'll be back. And I'm going to make sure this gets on the video. Dear listener, go and watch the video to see. Look at that. This is Dingo's.
Proof he actually met me.
yeah. This is proof he met me. And we met. And these are treasure tokens. Look like Monopoly cards. These Urzatron proxies. Land tax. I love it. Dockside. And then a whole bunch of Nykthos. I
My
am
goat
still.
customs.
What's that?
Those are my goat customs.
Oh yes, your goat customs. Yes, I love these. Like these are amazing. Thank you again for that. That is awesome.
Yeah.
I feel bad
Yeah,
I
no,
didn't
like for
get you
context
anything.
on that, like, I spent too much time on Reddit. Someone had posted those Monopoly yards, and is like, I think it's like within the week of the second time you and I talked about Monopoly on the podcast. And I was like, I have to get these for both of us. So like, I favorited the dude's store and waited for him to put them up and just ordered them immediately.
Had a good time. Had a really good time. Sunday, I went and cubed for a little bit, though I didn't actually get to draft. They were in the middle of a cube when I went down and met up with them. But then like half of them had to leave to go to to dinner reservations. So I played a game, which was funny. I was playing somebody else, Dan, actually. I was playing his deck, which was basically Gruul aggro. And I was playing this guy who he had, and I think there were some content creators in that group. In fact, I'm pretty sure there were a couple, but I honestly, it was one of the things that I think they were people who were kind of a little bit more behind the scenes. So I didn't know them by name. But the guy I was playing, he kept tracking his storm count, but he never was casting a card with storm. And I was like, and we literally went through almost 2 full games, and I'm like, there was one, he got the storm count up to like 18, and then he was like, pass turn. And I was like, what do you have, or are you just fucking with me? And he said, no, I've got something. I can't do it, but I want to track it just in case I can. And I said, okay. And then like 2 turns later, I can't even remember what it was. I think it did direct damage to me. Like it.
Yeah.
Or no. It milled me. That's right.
I know. Yeah. Shatterstorm is one of my favorite storm cards.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the new one coming out with the Fallout set, the Rad Storm.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen that card?
Yeah. That's I saw that and I was like, oh geez, Dingo's gonna get that.
Circling back though, so like one of the things I would say about going to MagicCons, right? If you're going to do it, try to just do the whole thing. Because it's all that extra time you spend traveling is you're not spending having fun.
Yeah.
Because like the fact you guys were able to have a lobby con,
yeah,
right? Like it's like, man, I missed out on all that.
Well, but you know what? Like, and I do think that is a very good point. I do think it can be worth it because I know your traveling was a little bit more than I even thought. I thought you were just a hop skip away. I didn't realize you were as far out as you were.
2 trains and a bus.
yeah. I didn't realize you were that. I thought you were just a train and then maybe a lift ride or something. But yeah, I agree. If you can do MagicCon and you're going to spend the money, and either do it day by, like do it like you did if you live less than a half an hour commute to it, so you can get there beforehand, stay until it shuts down, that kind of thing, or just get the hotel, go, because LobbyCon really is a big thing. And it's something that I wish I had partaken more of, because you just, not only do you get to meet some really cool people, and I even mean outside of content creators, like you just get to meet really fun, interesting people who are just there to play Magic. That's what they want to do. And like, especially at these cons, most of the people that I've run into are just fun, cool people that you get to play and meet and play against and meet. And it's just a great experience. But yeah, I agree.
What was your favorite part of the whole convention, all 3 days?
I would have to say, okay, so I'm going to get the sappy answer out of the way and say it was actually getting to meet you. That was really cool.
When you started saying sappy answer, it's like, oh man, come on.
But yeah, I think MagicCon is a great experience. I do think the point you made at the beginning, in fact, I wanted to elaborate on it and I forgot. You hit the nail on the head. They didn't prepare for the amount of tickets they sold. They oversold for the preparation. And and it was, as somebody who has been like, I went to MagicCon 30, went to Magic 30. I went to Philly and Vegas again. So this has been my fourth. This is the fourth one I've been to. And MagicCon 30 was, while it was weird in the sense that it was a great experience because it was the first time that that a Magic convention has ever been done like this. So that was cool. And the fact that they didn't sell as many tickets, so it wasn't as crazy. It still was kind of a dumpster fire in the organization. They still didn't prepare for, and it was probably organizational wise the worst one of the whole thing. But Philly and Vegas, much more well balanced. Like they had really got it. Like the ticketed play was in a completely separate area, like in a completely separate hall. Like they put ticketed play and the Pro Tour in a completely separate hall. And that made the rest of it flow better, where the artists and all that stuff, it just flowed better. It worked better. Chicago, I feel, was a bit of a step back. Not all the way back to Magic 30, but it was a bit of a step back.
I know. So a few other side comments for it too. A lot of compliments online for the food that was there.
Oh yeah, food was excellent.
Which was good. I want more of that.
Yeah.
But like expensive, which also you expect at any convention, right?
Yeah.
But like paying almost $6 for a 20-ounce pop, it's like,
yeah.
Thanks, Chicago.
Oh, you said pop. You made the Pittsburgher and me happy.
It makes my wife angry. So.
Yeah, I grew up. It was pop my whole life, and then when I moved to Virginia, I had to shift to soda because if I said pop, people would look at me funny. Of course, now I probably could get away with it, but I've been saying
there should
soda.
Be just a flavor text like wise, like just for fun, like secret layer card where it's, you have a card with like multiple effects. You choose one upon casting, one's soda, one's pop.
Yeah.
And then you throw a third option in there, Coke, because Kentucky's weird.
Yeah. But yeah, the food was really good. I think was probably more of an effect of McCormick Place and how they run their food. I think.
Right.
So that's more of a specific on the location. Though I was really mad that Wild Bills didn't show up. They were supposed to be there. They didn't come. And I lugged my cup all the way across the country. Didn't get to use it. I really wanted some sarsaparilla. Anyway, that's a sentence you probably never thought you would hear me say.
What's the next convention before Fallout? Like, was it this one, or? Because I know apparently people were getting Fallout collector boosters given to them by like Olivia. Like randomly saw that on Reddit, and I was like, I'd miss that. I was there that day, and that didn't happen to me.
Yeah, we got what did we get?
We got the
Ravnica remastered,
but they weren't collectors. They were just
they were just regulars.
Yeah, but it still is nice to get random free product.
Oh, yeah.
Like we just stopped to talk, and like all of a sudden this person comes up and just gives us product. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's like, oh, thank you. But yeah, so I think overall it was a good convention. It hanging out, like the times playing Magic was probably some of the best I've had at any of these conventions, really. But the other ancillary stuff felt different at this one. This one had just a different vibe to it. I do think having the ticketed play in the same space, especially right next to the main stage, was
confusing.
Yeah, that was a big mistake because I experienced it on Sunday because I did a draft. I did a on-demand draft, and while we were doing that, they were playing that, like basically the Family Feud of if they were doing Magic designers versus content creators, and it was essentially Family Feud. They were playing that game show on the main stage, and it was making it very hard to concentrate on my game. Now I get it. I'm playing it on demand, no big deal. But a couple of days later, I read a Reddit post where somebody had signed up for like one of the cups, I think the Modern Cup or something, and they have sensory issues. And there was something going on the main stage while they were trying to compete, and they did horrible in the event because of it. Now, I know some people would think, well, they're just blaming their poor play on that. But no, seriously, some people have sensory issues. I have close relatives who have sensory issues that if they're in a space and there's a lot of noise going on, they cannot think.
Gotta watch noise in there. And even like being on the far side of the hall when we were playing that one game of Commander, like speak up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like I couldn't hear the guy next to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. Like I couldn't hear. And that about does it for today. You can find DM Dingo on Twitch or on the FDS Discord. You can find me, FDS MTG, here on YouTube, FDS MTG, as well as on Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, FDS MTG, basically everywhere. Also on TikTok as well. Thank you so much for listening, and you all have a wonderful day.